Recording. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new program that I've never done before. It's how to reuse and repurpose content for maximum impact. So I always talk about this every time I present, but I never get a chance to really delve into it. And it's something that has been so useful and successful for me in my own content strategy over the years. And so I wanted to give you guys some ideas for how you can do this for your companies or for yourselves. So you guys know who I am. I'm Stefanie Marrone. I live in New York City. I worked in-house as a law firm marketer for 20 years and then went off on my own late in 2019 and started my own consulting practice. And I was really nervous with the pandemic, but it actually turned out just fine. And actually a lot of firms were unscathed and need a lot of help. I don't just work for law firms. I work for recruiters. I work for legal service providers. I work for accounting firms. So I have a broad range of clients and I love it. I love presenting. I miss being in person. So I'm hoping I get to see you guys at some point, but I do also love the idea of webinars because I think it gives us the ability to really learn from each other quickly sitting at our desks. And so I'm not going to stop doing these even when we go back to in-person conferences. I'm going to be starting a series on Fridays. We had talked about, or those of you who've been on my webinars before, we had talked about Friday is a good day for professional development because a lot of people feel like they have more time for themselves. And so I'd love to know if you feel the same way. Please put that in the chat if you have a preferred date and time for programs, but I thought Fridays could be good. And guys, I am so excited. I'm going to be launching a podcast soon and I hope you'll listen to it. I hope you'll recommend guests to me and all that good stuff. So let me know if you have any ideas on that. And if you prefer, I know, guys, I thought today was Friday also, but I think that was because Monday was Columbus Day, although I worked. I know that a lot of people who have kids, had to sort of navigate it. But yeah, I think Friday is good in the winter time. Obviously in the summer, I wouldn't do it on a Friday. Okay, and also, do you guys like lunchtime? Because, traditionally we do programs at lunch and I think that's good, but we could always change it up. And then also, guys, I will put at the end and then a follow-up. I have a couple other programs coming up. I'm going to be doing one on Canva, which a number of people have asked me to do. And I have a program with top recruiters coming up. So it is Eva Wisnick is on with us. Hi, Eva. It's going to be Eva Wisnick, Dimitri Mastrocola, and Jennifer Gilman, and that's Secrets from Top Recruiters, and it's on Friday, November 5th, and I will put the link to register for that in the chat. Okay, oh, and then I'm also doing an alumni relations program with Leopard Solutions with someone from Safarth and someone from Washington University School of Law on how to create an alumni relations program at your law firm, irrespective of budget, and that's coming up on November 3rd. All right, so I'm going to get into the topic. You guys have not seen most of these slides, which is exciting. So I tend to go fast. Feel free to take notes. I will make my slide, I will send you guys some of the slides. Eva, if you have a quick link to that program while I'm presenting, if you don't mind putting it in the chat, that would be great. You can find it on my social or in one of the emails I think I sent you. Otherwise, I'll just post it later. Okay, so we spend so much time creating content and we make the mistake of, many people make the mistake of posting it just once. Now, I call this one and done. It's not rocket science. This is something that happens all the time. I was guilty of this. One of the things I was worried about is if I posted my content again, would people think I was spamming them? And then I realized that there's absolutely no way to spam people, nor is anyone watching my LinkedIn or paying attention to my LinkedIn as closely as I am. And what I started doing was taking posts from a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and repurposing them. And when it comes to social, guys, I was posting almost exactly the same piece of content with the same image. And I was getting the same engagement, if not better. And sometimes the same people even like the post. And so I think that's interesting. You guys should be doing the same for your firms, for your companies, and for yourselves, okay? It's just a matter of like tracking the posts so that you can see them and you have a good enough time, you want to put space in between it. what I found sometimes was the time of day I posted or the day of the week I posted were the first couple of lines of my post, which are the most important, because that is what people see in their feed, and then they decide whether they're going to read it or not, or changing up even the image. But like I said, sometimes I didn't change anything at all. And I do this all the time for law firms, and it works every single time. You can get at least 2 to 6 posts out of every single article or blog post. And that's something that I wasn't doing to the best of my abilities, which I have absolutely started doing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so remember, like I said, a lot of people won't remember your content because they're just not on social and the time of day that they're on it. It's up to you guys to track those posts, to look. I hope you're looking at your analytics, seeing what's doing well, and keeping a main document of all of your posts. So I unfortunately can't go back 2 years to all my LinkedIn posts, and there are some really great ones there. So I'll talk about getting a download from LinkedIn of all your content, but it doesn't give you the post. There is a way, I believe, to do it. Chris, I am still looking into it and I'm trying to figure it out. Okay. So what this does is repurposing so repurposing content is something different than reusing content. Reusing your content is taking it exactly as it was and reposting it again. Repurposing is changing it up a little bit, like what I said, change the image, change the text a bit, update something that you published 6 months ago. For many of you, you have great things. We'll talk about that. You know, law firms have great content within their practices. And then as an individual, so like even knowing there's some recruiters on here, 10 things you need to do today to be more marketable as, in the job market, right? 10 resume tips. These are what I call evergreen pieces, which I'll get into, and they are gifts that keep giving forever because you really don't even need to update those. And they do very well with your search engine optimization because the longer something lives on Google, the better it's going to be categorized, okay? So 2 things, repurpose is recasting it, editing it a bit, reusing it is using it as it was. And there's, obviously posting it on social, but if you have a blog, or you write articles, it's updating the article just a little bit so that you have another piece of content. And I see there's a question about reposting and reusing blog posts where I'm going to talk about that. Basically, Claire, what you want to do is change it just a little bit so that it looks like a new piece of content. And I'm going to show you an example of my own that I think will help with this. And I hear conflicting views on that with SEO as well. Okay, so what this does is obviously save time so you don't have to keep creating new content. And then of course, client alerts, blog posts, articles, these are, I find, one of the most effective ways to engage with your clients and your prospects because it gives you a ton of valuable content. And it gives you, so every single blog post, you can come up with, I think, at least 10 social posts from there. And if you're using Twitter, every single line in a blog post is basically a tweet. And all of these things, why do we do it? New business, speaking engagements, visibility, article opportunities, press opportunities, and they keep you top of mind with your clients and your prospects, right? So that's the whole reason. What I want to also mention is, do distribute your content while the topic is hot. And, a lot of us can sit on it and perfect it ad nauseum, and you're not trying to win a Pulitzer Prize. So please just get your content out the door. Your good is good enough. Same thing with laboring over the verbiage when it comes to social posts. Don't. Just send it out. Your good is good enough. We can tinker with something. Maybe you'll tinker with it later, and then that'll be the second post, right? Okay, so you got lots of options. I'm mostly, I'm talking today about repurposing content in general, but obviously you're going to use social. I never talk about video for the most part in podcasts, but I will be talking about that today as well. And obviously some of the channels, but just remember, guys, if you're posting content, the same piece of content on different channels, you want to make sure that the voice is different on each of the channels, right? So the way, and also the image size needs to be different on LinkedIn versus Instagram. It's a square. I use canva.com, which automatically resizes it for me on the regular platforms. If you're using Canva, guys, the Twitter post size is perfect for LinkedIn, for Facebook, and for Twitter. You don't need multiple versions of it. You can use that. So I only resize my images in 3, okay? So I have my Instagram image, and I don't post everything I post to LinkedIn on Instagram. I change the tone because it's not as business-like, it's a little more casual. And Twitter, obviously, I don't have as many characters, so I have to change it. But I create 3 size images. One is a Twitter post. Like I said, I use that Twitter post on Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And then I have my Instagram, and then I'll make an Instagram story as well. And I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is my personal, which basically has dog pictures and pictures of my niece and nephew. That is limited to 130 of my closest friends and family. And I went in there, by the way, and edited that and removed a lot of people and invited them to follow me on my work Instagram, which is Stefanie Marrone Consulting. I recommend you do this. And also, if you're not using Instagram yet, but you think you may, go claim your name, okay? And I have another course on Instagram. If anyone is interested in that, let me know. I know, some firms are tinkering with it. Some individuals are tinkering with it. I can tell you it's very hard to build your brand on Instagram. But it's worth it. And then, okay, so I guess I use one other image, which is on YouTube. I create YouTube thumbnails, and it's basically the Twitter post, just a little bit resized, and that's easy to do again on Canva. But talk about repurposing. The same image I use all over, and that's my image for my blog posts. And if I post an article on LinkedIn, which you should still do, and those of you who have company pages, so this is interesting, and this won't hurt your SEO. Now you can publish an article under your company page, just like you're able to do that on LinkedIn as an individual. I think we should start doing this more. So you should absolutely put your blog posts up there as well as on your blog. And you absolutely should put your client alerts on there too. If you guys if this doesn't make sense, you're not sure what I'm talking about, I can go over this in a little bit. So obviously you want to add value. You want to tell stories in this content that you're repurposing. I mentioned good is good enough and helping others, and done is better than perfect, right? The focus of everything is always on our client. So we have to make sure about that. You guys know I am not a proponent of the super lawyers and best lawyers posts that talk about how humbled and honored a lawyer is for winning them. And any PR firm or recruiting firm that does those posts, I think it's just too self-congratulatory and too me-centric. And I don't recommend doing them. I think if you're going to do those posts, you should have to switch around the voice about why you became a lawyer, why you decided to start your own recruiting firm, switch around and talk about a challenge you had or how you got there or your team. There are ways to do those posts without seeming so self-serving. Okay, visuals are important. And by the way, with all of your posts, right? So whatever visual you use on your blog post, if somebody shares that blog post, that visual will get pulled into it. So spend the time to create good visuals. I am starting now to put my name on my images and a link to my website because I see people sharing my content or sometimes using my images, and I want my name to be on there. So tip for everybody, make sure you've got your contact info on there, and it's easy to put that on Canva. Visuals also, remember I've talked about stopping the scroll. Visuals help people stop the scroll, and that's why I like them. I saw something that Sam McKenna posted yesterday, which was great. It was, she's obviously worked at LinkedIn. She's got inside info there, but she essentially was saying, don't put the link in comment. So don't put links in your LinkedIn post, put it in the comments, but you shouldn't be the first person to comment on your post with the link, which is something I didn't know. And I'm grateful that she shared that. You should have somebody else comment first. She also said there's virtually no point in sharing content on LinkedIn because the algorithm. So that's for another day, but just an aside, go read her post. Okay. So regularly tracking what your competitors are doing is going to help you also with content repurposing. So I always look at my competitors. Did you guys see that now on LinkedIn company pages, you can set your competitors? You can set up to 7. I will show you guys how to do this at the end. If you want me to, put it in the chat. And you're able to track exactly how many followers they have. You can't see them, obviously, you can only see your own, but you can see what they're posting in comparison to you. It's great. And this will give you ideas for content. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over why you need a social strategy. You're obviously here and you come to my programs, which is great. And like I've always say, the bar is low, which is great. I want to make sure everyone is using email marketing in addition to social. So when you talk about repurposing your content, you should be sending it out directly by email. So there are so many things you can do. An email newsletter with snippets of articles and blog posts. So I have a Lex blog, and you can set, if you have a Lex blog, you can set it up automatically so that your subscribers get an email with all of your posts as a digest once a day, 2 times a week, or a week, or every other week. I find every week is just fine, or it's inundating people. You should be repurposing your social posts in your email marketing. So this is a lot. So I have a very detailed social media calendar for myself, obviously, because I post so much. Happy to show it to you guys. And I have different social calendars for lawyers and different ones for firms. I like to look at it as a calendar, like 30 days in advance. And I set my posts in advance sometimes, and other times I supplement, but I'm looking at 3 months ahead. Your email marketing calendar should be, so your email marketing, and when you're sending out invitations to events and newsletters and other things, this should be built into your calendar so that you've got consistency, right? So you're repurposing and posting things and it makes sense. Another idea for email blast is to post your top social posts, and then also look at your social posts, see what's doing well, and then break them out and write longer blog pieces. Please also make sure that your blog posts, like I said, you're posting them also on LinkedIn as an article. That is good for SEO on LinkedIn because it gets it sort of bypasses those rules when you have to put a link to comments of a blog post. Every time you do that and you drive people off LinkedIn, LinkedIn dings you, okay? Okay, so obviously I love LinkedIn. We know that. I should probably go work for them. And why do I love it? Because it is free to publicize yourself and provide, as long as you're providing value, you will get return on investment. Only 1% of users out of 700 million plus use the platform to post content. And that means for you opportunity. One of the things that's important to know is that you should be posting now, even if you're not looking for a job, if you're not thinking about starting your own business, if you're not sure you want to speak. It's never too early to start doing this. I had laid the groundwork for my consulting business years in advance before I even knew I was going to start a consulting business, because by the way, it was an accident that I started one, but I had a reputation already because as an in-house marketer, I was posting content regularly. Regularly to me can be different, is different than what regularly to you may mean. Consistency is key. So if you're going to commit to 2 times a week, 3 times a week, once a week, that's fine. You can't just show up once every 6 months on social or by email. Okay, consistency. And for email, guys, it's either once a week or once a month is what I would recommend. So your employees are key, and let's just keep that in mind in terms of sharing the content that you post to get a wider audience. So make sure that if you're spending all this time to create great content and reuse your content, your employees know how to like and share content and make their own posts, and they know how to use hashtags. I can't tell you how many people don't know how to do any of these things, and you just need to show them once. And that's how this virtual world, and Zoom and sharing screens can really help you. Okay, I always mention this, but just know that there are people looking at your post in invisible user only mode. They don't engage with it, they don't like it, but they're certainly looking at it. And this is important, guys, because I don't want anyone to feel discouraged by the number of likes, comments, and shares they have at first. And even, you know, I think you guys may have seen the post I posted the other day saying, I've had not great luck lately with my posts. And I don't know if it's an algorithm change. I don't know if people just don't like my content lately, but it happens to the best of us. Keep going, keep posting, keep believing in your content, and try that content again, maybe change it up a little bit. Okay, but the most important thing is to make sure you have a repository of all of your content. An Excel spreadsheet is great, but the onus is on you with your social posts to make sure that you put them somewhere else other than just live on LinkedIn. What if LinkedIn went down for a couple of days, like Facebook and Instagram went down for, you know, a day last week or the week before? What if LinkedIn changes its privacy policies and goes away, or if something happens, right? You own, that's your content. Save it somewhere for yourself. Okay. So in terms of success strategies, this is nothing new. We've gone over this a lot, but I just love to show this to just make sure that with repurposing your content, you're thinking all of these things: participating, being intentional, trying new things, looking at your analytics and watching others, being consistent, giving and helping, and not bragging. Okay, so with everything you create, whether it's a blog post, an email, a social media post, this, or a webinar, this should be at the heart of what you do. And remember, there's no way to spam anybody on LinkedIn. Don't assume people can see all your posts. We've gone over this before. And avoid those me posts. Everybody here needs a LinkedIn company page, and let me tell you why. And this is also if you are a firm of 1 or a firm of 2,000. It gives you analytics and tools that you don't have as an individual, and it enables you to cast a wider net. I repurpose most of the content I post as myself on my LinkedIn company page, but I post different things there. I also try out different things. My Women Who Wow series, I post that on my LinkedIn company page, not usually on my own personal page. And here's the reason. That is a series that can bring traffic to my company page. And my company page needs a lot more than I do. So I have, 9,000 LinkedIn connections as an individual and 500 and something company page connections. Do you guys catch my drift? You want to drive people to the place that needs the most help. Now, obviously there's certain things that it will make a difference. It'll be good for me to post it in both places, but focus on the channels that need the most help, in my opinion. And these are all of the things the LinkedIn company page does. And I told you guys, you can see who's following you. Not easy to export it, but look at that list. Make sure those people are on your email marketing list. They want to hear from you. Repurpose your content to those people. And then there's all those competitor analytics tools. Posting a LinkedIn event. Some of you found out about this event because I posted it on my LinkedIn company page. I repurposed it. In addition to sending it out by email and posting it on my social channel, my personal social, I made a LinkedIn event. If you're not making LinkedIn event and inviting your connections, again, another huge missed opportunity, okay? And if you want help on how to do that, more company page things, I have a LinkedIn course. I have an online course on that, and I can do that again. So these are a lot of the tools that I use when it comes to content repurposing, and there are a couple new ones that aren't on here. Some of these tools create infographics. Some of them help me transcribe content, which is a huge part of my strategy. There are visual tools here. There's a word cloud tool. And if you want this, a more detailed list of the tools I use, just send me your email address and I will send it to you if I don't already have it. And my content calendar is the one on the lower left. This is it looks like an actual calendar and it's color coded. And I like that because I can see 30 days in advance. The most important 2 lines of your LinkedIn posts, by the way, for blogs, it's going to be your headline. It is the first 3 lines. Actually, it's 2 to 3 lines. It depends. because people decide whether they want to see more or not. Use that wisely. If your posts aren't doing well and you want to repost it again, change up those first three sentences. So the first three lines, okay? That has sometimes been the difference between a piece of content of mine flopping and a piece of content of mine doing well. And please don't use all caps. People get annoyed. I definitely get annoyed by that. I think it is like you're screaming at me. I see people also, I don't know if you guys have seen this, put all caps as their name. And I'm like, that doesn't make you stand out. It makes you stand out. I guess it does, but for the wrong reasons. The first three lines are the most important. So it's almost like you're writing a headline, which essentially you are, okay? And then obviously for blog posts, client alerts, and other articles you're writing, that headline is key. And if you can do a headline that's like a list, 5 reasons to blank, or why you need to blank, urgency and interesting things. People love lists. I find my posts with lists do well. Consider those things. Okay, so what do we post? All of these things. I'm going to skip over a couple of things. Make sure if you're writing an article in a third party that you, if it's behind a paywall, I hate paywall content, like Law 360 content. Law.com is the bane of my existence right now because everything is behind a paywall. I often contribute to these publications, but a lot of people can't read it. So what I do is then repurpose that content by pulling out something like a sentence or a paragraph or a figure and using that as my social post. Sometimes you can ask the publications if you can put a plain text version on your website and with attribution, and they will let you do it. But just keep just keep in mind this. And if anyone wants to write and isn't sure where to write, JD Supra is free and is amazing. That's how I built my brand. Also, I'm happy to have people for guest contributors, which I have a lot on my blog. If you're interested in writing, let me know. Okay, so with anything, when it comes to content marketing, we're always trying to aim, we're always adding value. We are never selling ourselves, our firms, our practices, our products. That's implicit, right? People get turned off when you try to sell them things. You're publishing consistently. And like I said, consistent is different for me. It's different for you. And you're using email and your mailing list to make sure you're hitting people on multiple places. Guys, one thing to think about, the holidays are coming up. So I know a lot of people are working on their holiday cards and their lists. Make sure that you are thinking about also repurposing. First of all, everyone's moved around. It's the great resignation, as we know. So your list as of last year is probably outdated. I have many ideas for holiday cards, Thanksgiving cards, end of year cards, end of year pieces, look ahead and look back. These are ways you can repurpose posts that you have. One of my favorite ideas is to do a recap of the top client alerts or your top blog posts for the past 6 months or a year. Talk about giving lawyers love or yourself some love, right? You can say, these are my top posts. You could do a top list of your social media posts too. And be strategic. Pick the ones that you want to pick. So that's something to think about. And with the holidays, a lot of people do great holiday cards and they don't post them on social. Post your holiday card on social as well, because again, you're hitting people in multiple places. Okay. I'm going to skip over this. This is obviously why we're here, but just to reinforce that. Okay, so here's a to-do list. I will send this to everybody. These are things you could be thinking about with regard to the content that you're choosing and repurposing. One of the things that I do all the time is post any webinar I'm having in LinkedIn groups. The ALA, the Legal Marketing Association, and a bunch of other ones that are in the industry are incredibly valuable for me in terms of getting more people to come to my programs to whom I'm not connected. Your lawyers are probably not doing this. When you have a webinar, when you have something of value, a piece of content, a blog post, a client alert, get them to share it in the groups that they're in, associations, right? Real estate groups, intellectual property groups. For my recruiter friends here, the NALSC group, NALP, the whole host of other ones, you need to be promoting your content. As long as it's content of value and not self-promotional, you're good, okay? If you want me to cover more about that, I'm happy to do that. And if you aren't sure to which groups you should be a member, let me know. Look at my profile, look at the groups of which I'm a member. You'll find some inspiration there. Okay. So these are some of the tools. I've shown this before, but show versus telling. We're going to talk about evergreen content in a minute. We're going to talk about being visual, and create once, publish everywhere is an acronym that I hear a lot, but adjusting the message for the medium. So like what I said, the message you post to Instagram is different than Facebook, is different than Twitter and LinkedIn. And the same thing goes for the tone of an article that you would write for certain publications, right? Okay. So what should you repurpose? Okay. The best content to repurpose is the content that has obviously done it well for you, your most popular posts. How do you figure out what they are? Okay, number one, look at your email marketing statistics. They tell you what people clicked on, what people actually read. That's important information. Your LinkedIn analytics also give you the same information, and you should be looking at that as well. If you use Hootsuite or another scheduling program, they will tell you as well. And then obviously yourself, make a note. I have a list of my top posts that have gotten more than 9,000 views and hundreds of likes, and I save those to my featured section. All of you should be using the featured section. That is how you pin items to your profile on LinkedIn. If you don't know how to use it, please let me know in the comments or in the chat. I will send you an article on how to do it. And if I have time at the end and you want to stay on, I will demonstrate it, okay? That is a branding tool, but also a tool for you to easily find your posts. And if you're looking for your LinkedIn posts, go to the activity section under posts and you will see all of your posts. Today, promise me you will go in and copy and paste all of your posts for as far back as you can. If you don't have the time to do it, delegate it to an assistant, hire somebody. It's worth doing it. You need to do that. And then I would encourage you to go a step further, which is to actually categorize each of those posts. And then in that spreadsheet, put how well the post did, okay? Okay. Yes, and your blog will give you analytics as well. And if you have Google Analytics, obviously through your website, you should be looking at your Google Analytics. Okay, it is important for me to talk about the difference between earned and owned media. The key to my success has been a lot on owned media. So owned media is when you create items yourself, like an article, a blog post, a newsletter of original content, 10 reasons why you need to blank. It's my Women Who Wow series. It's not waiting for the news to publish you, which is earned media. Earned media is getting your, a quote or an article placement in a third-party publication like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Law 360, blog. My blog would be earned media for you and owned media for me. Okay. A combination of these two is so powerful for law firms and individuals in any company in the legal space, because the owned media enables you to say what you want to say about yourselves whenever you want to say it. So like I'm working for a law firm right now, we're doing a Hispanic Heritage Month campaign. That would be owned media. It's a great way to give love to people and put them in the spotlight. You can do that. I'll talk about hashtag holidays a little bit later. If you want my hashtag holiday list, I will give you that as well. There are tons of dates I'm going to show you guys for October and November. Earned media is really important also. So, okay, it gives you credibility. It gives you third-party affirmation of this person that knows what they're talking about. Each piece that you get can be turned into multiple social posts, right? So hear me out. Let's say I'm quoted in The American Lawyer on the importance of using social media regularly for lawyers, okay? I could do one post that has a synopsis of the article with an image with a quote of mine from the article. Number one post. I'm also posting this on my website, okay? And everything directs back to your website and then hopefully your website copy has other articles of interest on that page as well, right? So if you want to keep people there, you want inbound and outbound links on your website. Another post would be a statistic from the article. So let's say I said 94% of lawyers don't use social media, which probably is true. That's another quote. That's another post. I could then do a list of the top takeaways from the post as a third post. I could turn that article into a video and put it on YouTube. I could also create a podcast from the show notes. And I can also send you the show notes from there. You catch my drift? There are a lot of different ways you can do this, and you can take one long video. So today's video from this recording, I will splice it up into probably 14 segments of me talking for 2 minutes on a topic, put it on my YouTube, and also put the longer version. Remember, and please do this with your law firm content, most people don't want to watch a webinar from start to finish. They want to find things that resonate with them. So break it up into sections. This is the earn versus own media section. The next section's on LinkedIn. You can do the same for your lawyers when they're doing webinars. And Eva, you should be doing the same thing for all of your great programs. You can turn that into individual small posts, which people consume easily. You can also post those posts on LinkedIn. As long as they're under 4 minutes, you can natively post video on LinkedIn. And I have had such great luck with that myself, and I don't use anything fancy to do it. I hope that all makes sense. If it does, give me a thumbs up or tell me in the comments in the chat, okay? But we're gonna go through this a little bit more. So here are some things you could do in your own media strategy. Reuse your bios. Okay. One of my most successful campaigns has been taking lawyer bios and turning them into posts and interspersing them over the course of a few months. So what I do is look at certain practices and I say, meet Jim Smith. He's a lawyer in our intellectual property group. And then it's a synopsis of his bio, 3 lines, and then it links to his bio. Voila. Here's what's happened to me when I've done this. Clients will comment on the post, or someone he knows, or, oh, hey, how are you? Oh, he's a great lawyer. Wait, what? That was like the best thing that ever happened once the client actually said, this person has helped me through many thorny legal situations. Can't ask for anything better. A bio post is great. If you don't work in a law firm, guys, you could do this with your employees. So meet Stefanie Marrone. She's our founder. Meet Eva, she's the founder of Wisnick Career Enterprises. Meet Jim, he's the client relations manager, right? Catch my drift? When somebody leaves when someone joins your company, you could do a get to know post of the new person, an accolade, something, but this is giving love and attention to people who don't normally get it. And I think that this is a terrific thing to do. Practice description and industry descriptions, same thing. Highlight certain practices, get to know our e-discovery capabilities, learn more about our intellectual property litigation, and then you reuse the practice description image. You can do the same thing with old blog posts and client alerts, Q&As. So I said I'm working on a Hispanic Heritage Month Q&A, and I've done this for Women's History Month and Black History Month as well. This feature is asking Hispanic employees to tell us why, what the month means to them and how their culture has influenced their career. Great posts, right? I mean, opt in, it's great content. You can do this for a number of different initiatives, pro bono. You could do this, why work at X firm? It is the hottest job market in years. You've got to differentiate your company and your firm. How do you do that? Get your people to start talking about what it's like to work there, okay? And then community service is another great thing. You need to, break up that me-centric content with content that feels good and that does good things like this. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I have a couple features with people who have been battling breast cancer, some of my clients, and then talking about, the importance of getting a mammogram and early detection. So, look at the calendar, see what's happening, and these are great ideas for posts. One thing I love that Lowenstein Sandler does is the first 100 days post with their laterals. So go check them out. I think this is really brilliant. What they do is, they'll do a first post when the lateral joins the firm. And that is, a traditional, we're very excited to welcome Jim Smith to our white collar group. And then this is, his practice. And then you link to him and you've got his nice picture, right? Second post, 100 days later. For first 90 days at the firm, 100 days, whatever it is, get to know him. How's it been? Why did you choose the firm? What do you like most about the firm? Tell us about your practice. Great, done, right? Easy. That's how you use owned media. And then hashtag holidays, which I'll get into in a little bit. Okay, I actually downloaded this on my company page on LinkedIn. It's there if you want to just right click on it. Please follow me on LinkedIn too, and follow my company page. Okay, so this is the cheat sheet for today. I'm going to go through all of these things in the next 20 minutes. Okay, but this is how you reuse and repurpose your content. Look at your analytics. We went over that. Update a blog post to create a new piece of content. Okay, so somebody asked the question about reposting something, and then is it going to hurt your Google search results? It can. I recommend you update something. You change the headline, you update the first paragraph, the end paragraph. You don't have to rewrite the whole article, but you do need to change it just a little bit, and then it'll look like a new piece of content. And I'm going to show you how I did that. Create multiple graphics for one piece of content with a distribution plan. So this is what I mentioned before with regard to my post, where I would, put a quote, put a statistic, maybe use icons. Maybe I would have a Q&A, okay? That's what you do, and that's how you change it up a little bit. Turn a piece of written content into a video. Okay, for every blog post I make, for the most part, I do an accompanying video. It's great, it's easy, and then I put that link, so I post it on YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel, guys, you need one, because to house content, you really need a public place for that. And if you have a blog or a website and you want to put content like a video and embed it, it's the easiest thing to do if you have a YouTube channel, right? Again, free to set up. So I'll record my video, then I'll get the link to the video on YouTube, and I will post that in my blog post. So there's two pieces of content in there. There's a short video, and then there's the blog post. And then I usually put links to other content as well that people might find of interest. And so I'm reusing my old content, okay? Law firms can do this easily. I reuse, okay, so another thing to do is to take an article and turn it into an infographic. You can easily do that in Canva, and or a list or something visual. People love visuals. Those are the kinds of things you want to put behind gates, okay? So gated content, you would create a sign-up form for that. And if they want that content, they have to give you something. And what do you want? You want people's email addresses, right? To build your mailing list. So those are the, most of my content is free, but there are certain things that I would put behind a gate like that. And that to get it, you have to give me something. Again, your email address, you should consider this. I mentioned the next one about headshots, practice area images. Take webinars you attend and any of your own speaking engagements and create short takeaway pieces. So great example. Today, you could write a post about something you learned. Hopefully you learned at least one thing today. So you could write a post. I went to this webinar on repurposing and reusing content. Here are 3 takeaways. That is how I started building my brand before I was ever posting my own content. That is also how you build relationships with people on LinkedIn and in general, right? I mean, who doesn't, I would be so flattered if you did that for me. So that is a great way to show a person that you respect them, that you think that they're good at what they do, and to boost them and prop them up. Okay. Reusing event photos, such a great thing to do. And old firm history photos. A lot of us have pictures from past events. Why not take those event pictures and create a TBT, so that's Throwback Thursday or a Flashback Friday FBF campaign. So I know we really haven't been getting together in person, but you could take a picture from a past, this was our diversity event. We're looking forward to seeing many of you in person again, and then remind people what you do in that area, right? Or we have this tax breakfast every year talking about X and X. Here's a link to the past presentations, put a picture. Great. Okay. You can turn long form articles into several short pieces of content. So this is something I do all the time. I'll write a piece about 10 things you need to do on social media today. And then I have 10 individual posts, right? I can either post those as individual blog posts, or I can make a video on each of those and or social media posts, right? Catch my drift? You just have to start thinking efficiently. Okay. Here are some posts. I've shown this before. I love the visuals here. So there's a pro bono campaign at the bottom, top right. There's a Women's History Month campaign in the middle. There's a Q&A. There's a Veterans Day one. There's a holiday. There's a Hanukkah. There's Thanksgiving. All of you should be working on Thanksgiving and giving campaigns right now for your social. Alumni relations. Take your alumni profiles or even alumni news that you hear, post that, congratulate them. There's no better way to remain connected to your people and get them to be ambassadors for you and referral sources than to prop them up on your own social. And then you'll see firm history at the top left, which is Sidley, which I love too. Okay, and then the Proskauer post. So this is interesting. This was the most boring study on which I've ever worked. It was a risk assessment for labor and employment, and it was just a very dense topic. It was a white paper. It was literally like a Word document that had no visuals. We brought it to life using visuals. You'll see here. So we took out, some different facts, and we did about 8 posts for that survey based on different facts. And I can show you guys how to do that, a bar chart, a word cloud, and things like this. And this is all Canva, by the way, just so you know. Okay, so the first place to find content worth purposing is obviously, we talked about the blog archives, but your past LinkedIn posts. That's what I do. I repost my past LinkedIn posts almost verbatim. So look through those posts, promise me that you guys will go. And so you can do a download. Let me show you guys this. So under privacy and security, you have to do it on your desktop. You can request a download of your account data. Okay, so it will give you information. So it doesn't give you posts, it gives you articles that you've written. I have not found a way to download all of my posts. I can find them in the activity section, but there isn't like an Excel spreadsheet for them. And I've asked around people to help me with this, and I haven't gotten an answer. I've actually asked LinkedIn for this. But you can see here, you get the articles and it sends it to you in a spreadsheet. It is so helpful. You can also download all your recommendations. So I did this the other day, and I'm going to create social media posts for each person who's ever recommended me and put a page on my blog. And I think you guys should do that as well. Okay, so that could be a testimonial section. And by the way, the download takes a few hours to get. They'll email it to you at the email address that's on file with LinkedIn. So I mentioned this, where obviously, we talked about this, make a list of your evergreen posts. So the content like that is content that keeps giving, which I absolutely love. So this is like what to do when you need a will, or why you need a will, what to do when you get a subpoena. And you should regularly repost those. You can also update those. And if you update a few lines, it will increase their visibility in SEO. I love to take my video content and turn it into different things, and vice versa, take my written pieces and turn it into different things. So podcasts are so important. You don't need fancy equipment to make a podcast. I'm working on mine right now. And audio content is so much easier to consume because people are doing other things, and I'm finding podcasts to be great. Eva, I'd love to know some tips you have for starting a podcast, if you can give me some offline. And webinar recordings are really powerful, and you can use them as other pieces. So this webinar recording, I'm going to send it to, so I use a couple different companies, but I can send the content out and get an audio transcription within minutes. And then I'll turn it into a post, a blog post. I will also turn it into short pieces of content on my social channels, right? And then I will take the video, like I said, and splice it up. That's content marketing. And like I just said, this is the same thing. Create the transcription, rev.com. There's another tool that I use that it's the name's escaping me. If you guys have any tools you use that you want to mention, please feel free to mention those here. Email newsletter, so important. Like I said, you can create an email series from your blogs. You can add instructions and links. So today I'm going to do a follow-up email to you guys with all the links to the things I've been talking about, and that's another email. Another thing consider to do, which is something I'm going to be doing, is offering an online course. So repurposing your educational content into an online course is a great thing to do, and then offering a certification. So law firms could do this as well. I don't know about the certification part, but you could take old webinars and CLEs and then package them up on the tax law series or something and make them available to people in a recorded library. Content syndication is also another way to repurpose your content, and this is getting your content on other people's sites. So certainly if you have an article you want, so links, people will ask me to repost their LinkedIn posts if they're long, and I do on my blog. Something like JD Supra, which I love and has been very successful for me. There's obviously Lexology and Mondac and National Law Review as well. Those are great places to repurpose your client alerts and blog posts and get more visibility from them, because, by the way, nobody's following your blog, especially if you're a law firm. You have to bring that content to other people, and I can do a whole program on that separately. Also, consider reposting your high-performing content on Medium or Quora. I found that to be really helpful too, and I've seen lawyers do this, and it's been great with getting a more mainstream audience. If you break it down, obviously this isn't the place for legalese. This is the place for substantive, but written for for lay people content. Okay, so Instagram. I can take today's presentation, and so here's a tip that I learned from my friend Alexis Robertson. So she, instead of using fancy software, I don't have a Mac and I don't know how to use fancy editing software. She takes videos of webinars like this, and she uses the screen recording feature on her phone. And she then goes to the section of the video of the webinar that she wants to record. Let's say it's 2-3 minutes, and she records it. And then she's got the recording in her videos on her iPhone, and then she can share that. I think that's brilliant. Please, if you're doing anything with video, put captions, because most people don't view video with the sound on. So I use CapCut. There are other tools for this. On Instagram, if you post a video in your stories, it will automatically transcribe it for you if you hit that button, okay? You'll need to edit your videos down, obviously. On Instagram, if you have a 4-minute video, it won't make any sense because it's 15-second segments, and that's annoying for people. But I find videos to be an incredible way to communicate with people, and I hope you'll consider using those. And then highlighting quotes and statistics. You can easily pull quotes and key points from your articles and turn them into posts. Transcribing YouTube videos, which I mentioned, is another way for SEO. Hosting a webinar, it allows you to both present on a topic and engage, right? So today, this is going to be my presentation from today, by the way, is also another piece of content I can use. Each slide is a social media post, and the recording of this is a written piece. And I mentioned, a lot of you can take your blog posts and your social posts and turn it into an ebook. This is something on which I'm working. This is something Frank Ramos and Katie Lipp, if you know them, they're doing as well. And I think that's a terrific idea. Creating podcast or video series, we went over that. Crafting an email series, you can do a campaign, so a lot of people, let's say like the 12 days of Christmas, right? You can do the 12 days of content and put a post for each day and email that out. Find your evergreen content. They are so important. So like for me, it would be 10 reasons why you need to be on LinkedIn, 5 reasons why you need a LinkedIn profile, 10 ways to repurpose your content. You catch my drift, right? It is a gift that never stops giving. Okay, and speaking of never stop giving, I've got to go really fast because I've got 5 minutes. Okay, So these are some additional kinds of pieces that you could do. These are, I wrote a piece on like what to do when you run out of things to say, which I can send to you guys. I actually will update it. You can look at that. And then that's a new piece of content. That's on my JD Super channel. A list is a great thing to do. Like, so you can take a listicle. So 10, what's a listicle? Like 10 things you should not be doing on LinkedIn today. And then you could break each one of those into a post. And you could also turn along like 10 of those into one piece. It's the flip of that. Creating a presentation like today, this is something that I can use in a multitude of ways, right? I can use, like I said, the slides from today as a social post. I can put this on LinkedIn. I can put it on SlideShare, and I can have it continue to work for me. And that's the point. Maximizing the assets you have to make them work harder and smarter for you. This is an example of the same subject in different ways. Okay, so these are 3 different blog posts. I think I also posted these to LinkedIn as articles. The image on the right is supposed to be a YouTube link, and that so I have different videos that would appear in the blog post. Here's another 2 posts, and then another video that appears in one of the posts, and then you'll see a tweet on the left, which is a line from one of the articles. I have tweets for years at this point. Twitter is also a hard platform to build your brand, but it's worth being on if you have the content already, okay? And then you guys will see here, so this is a look at my Canva account. At the top, these are all of the slides from today. So you know what? I created them as Twitter posts. Then I saved them to my computer and I uploaded them into my PowerPoint. Each of these is a social post. I would just recommend when you post it to social, you should add your contact info, also like so someone can't steal your content, okay? And then this is what I just posted right before the webinar on my company page. And you look at the first 2 lines, right? First 2 to 3 lines, most important. And then here's that slide that I showed you earlier in a social graphic, and I put my contact info. I showed you this before, just to show you the power of visuals and how easy it is to create these. And I'm gonna go through really quickly. I love these posts like Meet the Team. This is a good one, and I mentioned this earlier. And then this is a great example. This was a sponsorship my prior firm wanted us to do. So we did the sponsorship. We paid for a speaking engagement. We took the research from the lawyer that she did on moderating the panel, and we turned that into a Cranes New York piece. So like bringing in even the third-party stuff, so the earned media. And then we turned it into a client alert. And then this was one of 6 social. So these are 2 social posts on the left. One with a quote, one just announcing the article, and then there were several others with other quotes. And I would encourage you guys, if you are using the same lawyers over and over again, have multiple headshots of them, because it gets really boring to scroll and see the same person in the same suit all the time. So she was someone who was high profile, so we spent money to get multiple pictures of her, okay? Okay, I'm almost out of time. These are the hashtag holidays for October and the themes. These are a lot of things you could be doing this month, and you'll see there are a bunch of holidays coming up. Some are more trivial and lighthearted, but that doesn't mean you can't use them. And then these are some posts I created for Struck on different days, like World Kindness Day and Hanukkah and Diwali. I don't have time to go over hashtags today, but make sure you know how to use them and you're using them in your social posts. And I will just encourage you to look up and use LinkedIn every day, use social. I hope this is giving you some ideas. This is a podcast on which I was that goes into a lot of LinkedIn stuff, in case you guys want to listen, with Michelle from Reputation Inc. And we have a Women Who Wow happy hour on October 28th. It's a virtual happy hour. I hope you'll join. I've got a number of programs coming up for October, November that I will tell you guys all about. And then here's how to reach me. Okay. I was talking really, really fast. I'm just going to look here to see about the comments, to see if there's anything on here that I didn't get to. Pinning posts. Okay, you guys don't know how to do the pinning posts? Anyone want me to show you guys how to do that? Okay, let me show you guys, and then let me just look here. Okay. Yes, I can do. Okay, so yes, I will do a formal LinkedIn strategy, law firm one. Yes. What should be your goal for a firm post? Gosh, it depends on the number of likes that you have. It depends on the number of followers. Like, it's so many different things. Someone asked, what are the pros and cons of posting a client alert on LinkedIn versus linking to the website to drive traffic there? You should do it in both places because it's different strokes for different folks. And a question about a lot of the engagement on our firm page is from law students and vendors. How do we appeal more to clients? That is a special, another presentation. I will talk about that. Are birthday posts from firm partners appropriate? Yes, they are. I'll tell you why. A client of mine just got a piece of business because he put his stupid birthday on LinkedIn and he got a bunch of people wishing him happy birthday, and it opened up the conversation with somebody about, in general, just the kind of chatting, and it got a new matter. So yes, absolutely. Okay, there are so many good ones in here, and I wish I could get to everyone. I do want to show you guys sharing from your company page. Sorry, you have to see my face here. Okay, can you guys see my LinkedIn screen? I know a number of people have left, but I'll show some people who want to see this. Can someone just put in the chat, you can see my screen? Yes, okay. Okay, so two things here. This is how you create a post for yourself. And my LinkedIn has been very slow. Has anyone else been having problems with LinkedIn being slow? And it's really funny because look what shows up in my feed, something about me, which is really funny. Okay, so you can write an article here, or you can write an article yourself as a company page, okay? And this is where you would do that. There was another question, and I'm gonna show you where to do it as a person, as a company, company page articles. And then what was the other question? Pinning posts. Okay, here, this is how you do it. Go to your profile and, okay. So you see here, so this is the featured section, okay? And I've got all these posts here, and you see how I can just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and see all of my posts. Okay. You go to activity. So see all activity. And you go to posts. This is what's been happening to me lately, guys. Like, so you would go to posts, and you'll see it. Like, am I the only one who's having like LinkedIn slowdown, or is anyone else also? Oh, are the yeses in the chat that you also are having LinkedIn slowdowns? Because it is so frustrating lately, especially when it's what you do for a living. It's like, okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, okay, well, it's here under posts, and then you can pin it, okay? And I'm gonna see if it's literally been happening to me like all week. It'll say like LinkedIn is are you getting this? LinkedIn is like unresponsive lately. It's like so annoying. But in any event, for those who are asking under the company page, it'll just essentially show up there as like write article on the top when you're trying to put in a new post, right there, okay? Oh, I give up, LinkedIn, you win. It's, yeah, the unresponsive. Okay, I'm so glad, guys, I'm not the only person with the unresponsive message, because I have very high-speed internet at home, and it's been happening to me all week, and it's so annoying. So listen, I'll put a screenshot on how to do it, but essentially it's exactly the same. It's in exactly the same place as it is when you're making a new post as yourself. It just says write article on the right-hand side. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for coming. I have a couple other programs that I will email you all about, and I appreciate you all for showing up today. I will do the programs on Fridays. I think that'll be good. And come to the Women Who Wow Happy Hour and the Secrets from Top Recruiters on November 5th. Okay, guys? Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good day.